Okay, hello Helldivers. This is just gonna be another video adding on to the new Warbond and the newest cosmetic gear sets. Well, I can't really call them cosmetics since they come with passives that functions differently. Like extra grenades, extra stems, extra a buff to how stems work when you use them, a longer duration to the healing effect. So they're not just straight cosmetics. Now, the pistol. The latest pistol, I would say, is a pistol. I would say it's a solid choice against automatons. If you take it over the determinist side, it's just a pistol. It's nothing. There's nothing amazing about it. It's a nice alternative to the revolver if you want to take it. Plus, it has a 10 magazine capacity. That's nice. But it's this booster right here. It's this booster that I think is really good because it cuts down the amount of time that it takes for a Helldiver to be slowed by acid. And that acid comes from the tongue of a hunter or the 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 bile of a bile titan. It really helps get you out of a sticky situation and recover quicker. Now the max again is 3 seconds. 3 second cut away from however long it really is when you're slow. If you run this booster, I think it's really nice. If you can somehow, if that bug is still in the game to where you can stack, duplicate boosters, this thing is really nice. Now, I want to talk about, which I didn't get to talk about in the previous video, is the Polar Patriots gear sets. Now, I, this this heavy armor is really not popular in this game. Plus 50 armor rating, plus 50 to your overall armor rating is not the same as 500 or 550 speed. It's not the same. You're not gonna see that big of a bonus with plus 50 armor. And then to boot, the Polar Patriots gear sets don't even help you traverse in frozen planets. Like you even have the snow cleats, but they don't help you traverse through frozen lakes or thick snow, or when there's a blizzard happening, you don't get any type of buff to traversal. You just still stuck with the traversal booster. This would have been a nice secret passive that could have also helped the traversal booster uh, add-on when you go hell diving. That would have been really nice, really neat. I would have definitely played what the Polar Patriot said, but currently it's mostly heavy armor. I'm not gonna be rocking heavy armor fighting Terminids. I'm not gonna be rocking heavy armor when it comes to fighting automatons. I'm definitely heavy armor gets the short end of the stick when it comes to planets that have intense heat or extreme cold. That meaning the thick snow, and it causes you to slow down. Especially you're going to be even more slowed when there's a blizzard happening or a sandstorm. So definitely heavy armor users get the short end of the stick. Hey, God bless y'all. You're somehow still rocking with it. There still are no unique passives to heavy armor. They're all sharing the same generic fortified passive. Currently, I have four. Currently, I have four different heavy armor sets that have the same tired passive fortified. I can get fortified on light armor. I can get fortified on medium armor. Can we get a shakeup when it comes to heavy armor passives? Can we get a heavy armor passive that gives us bionic limbs, bionic legs, that it helps increase speed and stamina regen? That would be really nice. Or hell, just another heavy armor passive or another heavy armor gear set that comes with extra padding as a passive. Because only one or two heavy armor gear sets come with extra padding. Hell, even medium armor finally has extra padding. So medium armor literally is the universal armor set. It has everything. It even has a heavy armor passive. There's nothing just setting this apart or really just makes me want to pick this. And you can't just say, oh, it's just cosmetic. These armor sets have passives too, so they're not just they're not just cosmetics. You can't just say it's cosmetic when you have medium armor, 2 medium armor sets that comes with democracy protects, and you can just be out there tanking hell bombs and surviving. Why can't heavy armor have that? I would definitely rock heavy armor if it came with that. Definitely. But currently, medium armor has light armor stats. Medium armor has heavy armor stats. How am I trying to say this? Medium armor has light armor stats. Medium armor has heavy attributes, heavy passives to make medium armor heavy armor. Just way better. Something else, a nice shakeup to heavy armor again. This new Warbond, I cannot. I would say to you, Helldivers, save your money. Just play the game naturally, because these Warbonds don't have a timer. They last forever. Trust me. There's no set timer like any other game like Call of Duty, where you have to hurry up, grind for a certain amount of days before the pass is over. These Warbonds last forever. So just play the game and naturally get up your premium currency. It's not hard to farm premium currency, I promise you. And then you'll be able to get the Warbond. Just right now, it's not worth the $10. It's not worth the $10 just to get the SMG and the pistol. That's not worth it in my eyes. Oh, and the grenade. This incendiary grenade literally kills this incendiary impact grenade literally kills the incendiary grenade. Wow. Talk about inadvertently creating power creep. It's to a tiny extent, but it's slowly creeping up, this power creep. What I mean by that is, we go over here to grenades. Why would I want to get an incendiary grenade when I have the impact's incendiary? I can close bug holes. I can cause grenade damage on top of burn damage. Come on now. Instead of just incendiary, just putting them on fire. We all know bugs don't care about fire. They walk right over that. And then the legacy grenades, that being a high explosive and frag. Okay, I got an impact grenade that can do 400 damage. Instead of dropping nerfed weapons, and I know they were nerfed because their description says something completely different. You look over here to the latest AR, it somehow says a high caliber assault rifle with a restrictive magazine size but more stopping power. Yet it does the same amount of damage as the default AR. Make it make sense. These weapons were pre-nerfed just before they released. They did something else. Why take the time to make weapons so identical? What I mean by identical is just only be useful for just killing trash mobs like roaches and warrior bugs. That is it. I came to that conclusion earlier today. Whoever is the lead, and I have seen his name is Kravchenko. Man, when I heard that name, that's like, I just got flashbacks, because I was taught that anybody with a name like Kravchenko is to not be trusted. I came to the realization earlier today that whoever this person is want these weapons to basically function the exact same. They want them to be so in line with each other that nothing stands out. Nothing is unique from one another. They all do the same thing, and that is kill trash mobs. Nothing stands over the other. Nothing like that. They're all glorified secondary weapons, sidearms. That's all they are. Where's the fun in that? Like, that hurts. I think that's going to hurt the game in the long haul. You just keep dropping these primary weapons in such a poor state, instead of focusing on just keeping them literally in line with one another, where nothing is unique and nothing stands out, you could have focused and focused that time and effort on stratagems. On stratagems. Because right now, as it stands, on Helldive, people are using the exact same stratagems as one another. So nothing is starting to stand out. Unless you just want to just say, to hell with it. I'm just gonna try to do something else. I'm starting to see people use the HMG. Hell, I even went back to the starting stratagem, the precision strike, which I think needs a nice buff. It needs a buff. Because sometimes the precision strike isn't all that precise. That's just me. You couldn't just take that time and effort to focus on your stratagems more instead of just nerfing weapons and keeping them in sync with each other's state. Like, a lot of these stratagems really are struggling. No, they don't have a high pick rate. Let me start with a good one. Your latest stratagem, the airburst rocket launcher. Nobody's running with an airburst. Nobody wants to do extra steps in order to take out enemies or vehicles when I could just use a recoilless. When I can just get behind it with an anti-material rifle and get it out of the way. Why? When I can just use a KG bomb or a rail cannon stratagem. And I'm going to get to those in a minute. So far, the rest is solid. People are tired of running with autocannons. The heavy machine gun, the MG 206, it's dog water. I don't want to curse so much, but it's dog water right now. I don't want to run with this thing. This you out your mind. I'd rather run with the MG 43. I'm not doing it. That's ridiculous. There's nothing about it that just screams, "Hey, pick me." I'm the go-to weapon. It's really not. Low run. It needs a buff. It needs a buff to ammo capacity. Literally, you just buff the ammo capacity. You will start to see people use this more because it has a stupid large magazine, but it doesn't have the ammo to reflect it. You should be spending more time dropping the stratagems. Dropping better orbital stratagems. I'm not seeing anybody running with an orbital Gatling barrage. Since Terminids pretty much force you into a playstyle of running explosive and anti-armor stratagems. It just is what it is. You buffing up enemy spawn rates and frequencies. What comes with that? More spawning heavy armor enemies. You play Helldive, you're going to get an insane amount of Bile Titan spawning. You're going to get an insane amount of charges coming at you in armored Bile Titans, BBL bugs. Sometimes, again, Bile Titans be so cracked out, you can take out their stomach, they're just going to eat that and not die and just be walking armor. And you'll just be wasting stratagems. They can be a bit of a stratagem dump. Don't get it twisted. Orbital 380. It's an orbital 380. You may hit something, you may not. You may get hit. You may get your partner hit. Just is what it is. Orbital walking barrage. I'm not seeing a lot of people use this thing because they want more control of. Orbital laser, again, it sucks at really penetrating, even though it's a focused orbital laser. It has a tough time getting through charging enemies, and they're starting to be a hindrance. They're starting to get in the way because we're using much better stuff over an orbital laser. I would say it's nice against trash mobs, anything under heavy armor, but it's automatically gonna go for heavy armor, and it'll just be wasting its time drilling into its back while it's just charging at the nearest Helldiver. Orbital rail cannon, it needs 2 shots instead of just 1. You give it 2 uses before a long cooldown, I'll use it more. An Eagle strafe run, I'll just use my LMG. Eagle airstrike, still top tier. Pretty much all the Eagle strikes except for smoke, top tier. Orbital precision needs to be more precise. And I say put the cooldown at 75 seconds over 100 seconds. Orbital gas strike is orbital gas. You can't just run it by itself if you want to be really, really effective with it. Because, again, bugs don't get slowed down or stunned for anything in this world unless you use stun grenades or an EMS mortar. Orbital EMS strike, I say it's a waste. It is what it is. It's something I would not go for because there's better alternatives, like an EMS mortar or a stun grenade. That's it. Better than wasting an orbital stratagem. Smoke is smoke. I'm sure nobody really wants to run with smoke. They want to run with something that's lethal. HMG emplacement, nice. Go ahead. It's people who want to goof around and go with a sentry stratagem loadout. They're doing their thing. Shield generator relay needs more hit points in order to be good. It just does. It needs to somehow prevent enemies from crossing through if you're using this thing against Terminids. Really, no one uses it against Terminids. But if you want to, go ahead. But us Helldivers that run Helldive, we know how to handle bile spewers and their spit. We know how to use bile spewer spit against charges and other enemies around it. This isn't a something that screams use me. Tesla Tower, I say increase the range, increase the activation range. Increase or decrease the amount of time it takes to just start arcing to enemies and doing damage. It takes too long. Anti-personnel mine. It's your low use thing. It's gonna serve to get Helldivers killed because they forget it's there. One way is to now the lights work on it, but it's just it's just not something no one uses unless you're fighting against automatons. Supply pack, my go-to. Nothing really else to say on that. A grenade launcher, funny enough to me, it's overrated. It's overrated. I just use a grenade pistol and call it a day. Laser cannon, I still don't know what a use for this is. It's a weaker, much weaker laser beam orbital stratagem. Incendiary mines might be good. I have to test them out, especially after all the incendiary buffs. It might be good. Guard Dog Rovers got nerfed heavily and people are still using it. They're not gonna let this go. Ballistic shield boys, maybe you're trying to relive your golden days over at Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe you type of players know some I don't. Maybe it helps. Maybe it helps against getting licked on by, what am I trying to say? Getting licked on by hunters if you're trying to run away. But then again, a shield generator pack exists for a reason. Okay. Arc throwers, you people are still dangerous. I still gotta watch myself around you people. Sentries are sentries. And that's it. Instead of dropping more stratagems, you give us nerfs. Come on now. Stop. I would have liked to think that people are catching on to the state of these war bonds to the point where it's not worth the money. Please, if you want to try and get your point across, players, don't spend your actual money on these war bonds, because now that you see what they're about, these weapons are just going to come out mid. Because saying that a weapon in a new war bond is really good, it's not saying a lot. It's not saying a lot. I don't care how good you are at the game. You're really good at shit weapons. That's not saying a lot. It's really not. I'm not about to sit here and toot my own damn horn either. It's just These weapons are still mid. I'm just using other stuff around it to make it look good. And then another thing I've caught on to, I've noticed the silent buffs, especially to the mushrooms. How do you, like, why would you do that? Why would you just look at the game and say, mushrooms need to get buffed up? Let's make them take twice the amount of explosives to take out. So instead of just one eat, you have to expend 2 eats just to kill, just to take out one mushroom tower. It's bad enough that shrieker nests are nigh indestructible if you're not using multiple stratagems just to take them out. And then the other 2 bugs that I'm starting to notice is the game ramping up difficulty when the host leaves, and the game or the host gets bugged out or gets, his game crashes, get kicked out, or he leaves, the game will freeze. And then the difficulty will just instantly ramp up when the game is not at the end game timer, and it gets ridiculous. And then undead chargers with their heads off, still up and moving about and having armor on, even though they have exposed flesh. It's weird. And then the planet modifiers on Helldive difficulty. You don't even focus on the modifiers to even make interesting modifiers. You constantly spam operations with complex stratagem plotting and global fluctuations. Surely you got to come up with something else. Every planet doesn't have to have the same 2 planet modifiers. I truly think if you continue down this road, the game is going to become stale, and people are just going to just gradually drift away. It's bad enough that it's not your fault, but Sony has kept the game from being purchasable in over 170 countries, which makes it worse. And then on top, we have struggling Helldivers in the Automaton region, and crashing still being an issue. But if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts. I'm out.